I just received a comment that I really like and I want to share with everyone. And yes, I chose to shave off all my hair. We could say that it's kind of a character building exercise for me. I'm the kind of person where I don't want my confidence to be built in anything of my physical appearance. As far as I don't want to think that my hair is a confidence crutch. So even if I can still have hair, every so often I like to get rid of it just to remind myself that I don't need hair to be a confident person, which is probably the perfect tie-in to this comment from Carl Dilkington 2. Says, quote, "I can tell you got your outgoingness from your mother. Your father seems a little more reserved. She's so comfortable about her heritage, especially having grown up in the part of the country that is known for racism." So that was a comment that I just got on a video called "Asking My Mom About Her Mexican Heritage While Growing Up." So this is something I definitely want to talk about. Just to clarify, so my mom was born and raised in Buffalo, New York, near the Canadian border, basically. When she was like 15, that's when she moved down to the South. Which is funny because I've asked her about that. Did people treat her family strange because, you know, with her dad being of Italian descent and her mom being Mexican American, and then they all have features that, if nothing else, are clearly, you know, Southern European, and that's not something you see a lot of in the South. You'd see that, that'd be normal to see that in Buffalo, New York, where they grew up, but where they moved to, not so much. So I think that's an interesting thing to point out. And yeah, she's definitely very comfortable with her heritage. And I think too, one of the reasons is because she is arguably, and I'm sure people will argue, that she's half. You know, she's half of Italian mindset and half of Mexican mindset, and you merge that in America, you know, and that's, there's that dichotomy going there. So because she was always aware of that, you know, perhaps that's another thing she's passed on to me, is being so aware of it. And I like to celebrate that, not only myself, but in other people. And I like the fact that people like watching my videos to further explore that. And that this is the opposite of racism. And granted, we have to focus on certain things which may sound like we're hyper-focusing on something. Oh, you're racist. No, I'm celebrating and exploring it, and this is the journey. But I also want to acknowledge the fact that about me getting my outgoingness from my mom, and that's definitely true. You know, my people have always seen it that way. That my dad is a bit reserved, but what's funny is you put him up in front of people, he can speak in front of people, and you know, he's been a manager at his office. He's the quality control guy. I mean, it's not like he's afraid or anything. He's just, reserved would probably be a better way to word it. What's funny is at any point I can say, hey, will you help me with a video? And he'll show up in a video. And if I need to interview him, I will. But I guess if you want to hear him say something in the comments on this video, ask a question of something you want to know about my dad, and then he'll be happy to respond. But let's talk about the fact that my dad is more reserved and my mom is not. And I grew up that way, and everyone always knew that. You know, they'd meet my mom. Oh, I love your mom. She's so much fun. And then but your dad, he's kind of quiet, isn't he? Like, that's always been how it's been for me growing up, and I've always been aware of that. And I think it is interesting, absolutely, that I have inherited this trait of being quite the speaker from my mom. I feel very comfortable speaking in front of people, because we all know that thing about, you know, the number one fear that people have is not death, but instead public speaking. But whether I'm in front of a camera or in front of people, I've just, ever since I was in, I don't know, like in 3rd grade, I started, they needed somebody to be in a play that was a boy, and they didn't have a boy. So then I, by default, played that part. And there weren't as many boys that wanted to be in plays, so then I was always in plays. And then because of that, I just really became confident in speaking. And I realized I had a lot to say about things that maybe didn't seem so interesting at first, but I can actually draw a crowd, because ultimately I've got the gift of being a storyteller, which is how we take something as simple as DNA test results and turn it into ultimately a whole channel. You know, that's one of my talents. That's one of my... I'm really bad at a lot of things. I'm really bad at home repairs and working on cars, you know. I'm really bad at math. You know, there's so many things I'm horrible at. But one of the things I'm good at is communicating. So what do? I focus on that, and that's what we all should do. We should all be very aware of what we're not good at, and then we should also be very aware of what we are good at. It helps us balance out our identity. We're all very good at a few things, and we're all mediocre at a lot of things, and we're all horrible at a lot of things as well. And it's so important that we recognize that. But yeah, it's interesting to think, without my mom having the personality she has, you know, would I be this way? And my answer is an immediate no. Because when I was a younger child, I actually was very shy and reserved. And I don't think, you know, a lot of times people think, well, if a person's shy, it means that they have confidence issues. I don't think that I ever had a lack of confidence. It's just I think that I became more comfortable with myself as far as speaking goes once I started getting up in front of people, even if kind of they forced me on stage, here, play this part, you've got 3 lines. But that helped me get where I need to be. So yeah, it is interesting to see that. I have my personality because of my mom. I am an extension of that personality that we have. And, you know, and it's funny because, you know, my mom's in a lot of my videos. I'm in all of my videos. My sister's in a few. My sister is in my most popular video on this channel by far. Not even by like double, like by more than double, probably triple by now. There's a video I made, which there's a good chance a lot of you found my channel because of the video where my sister and I compare our DNA test results. She went through 23andMe, I went through MyHeritage, and our results are quite different, which at the time we didn't quite understand why. Now we totally do. Like, you get half your DNA from each of your parents, but it's a random amount and you don't know which. So yeah, it makes sense that I'm so much more Iberian and 0% Jewish, whereas my sister is more, you know, English, and she is part Jewish, and, you know, she even shows up, I think, a little bit of Italian, all these things that I don't show up. That's the most popular video on this channel by far. You know, but she's not the kind of person who really likes to be in front of the camera and likes to, like, she will, if I twist her arm, she'll be in a video. But she's probably more like my dad. Like, will you help me out be in this video? Yeah. Whereas with my mom, it's just like, okay, let's set up shop. Let's do all these videos all at once. And my mom and I could go all day making all these videos. So I think that's interesting. For this YouTube channel where we're talking about ethnicity and traits that you inherit from parents and all that sort of. Here's a video that's kind of in left field as far as that goes, because you ultimately, and I haven't really thought about this as much, but you ultimately inherit parts of your personality from your own family. You know, if you grew, like, even for, let's say this with my sister, you know, she grew up with me, an outgoing, outspoken person who's already in front of people all the time. So by default, the likelihood of her being the same way wasn't as good. That's typically how it works with kids. Like, if one kid is really known for one thing, then the other kid wants to be known for something else. So being known for speaking, that was just not something that she cared about. As for me, you know, here I'm going to be on a TV show on Lifetime, the show this time next year, the episode being called Dudes from Different Latitudes. You can Google that, check that out, see if it's aired yet. Maybe check it out online on the website if it already has, that sort of thing. You know, it's my destiny to become a YouTuber and to end up on a TV show because of that personality. That's a big part of who I am because of my mom. Without my mom, there's a good chance I would have been a quiet guy that you would never heard of, and you wouldn't be watching me now. What do you think about that?